Alright, everybody, this is Cosmic back with register and login app in PHP. Here we're going to make a real application whereby we're going to see user register and then they can log in using the data stored in the database. Okay, yeah. Now the kind of work that we're going to do it in a project folder. So the project folder that we created in the previous tutorial was called PHP Crashcourse. As you remember, it was in the PHP root folder, which is XAMPP. Now to navigate to that folder, we are going to go to Windows C, then you are going to click XAMPP, then you are going to go to htdoc. So this is our project folder, this PHP Crashcourse. So remember that I had opened up in I had it opened up in the command prompt. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up it here from the command prompt. So I'm just going to type code and then space dot so that I can open up it in the Visual Studio Code, the text editor, and then it's going to fire up, and then we are going to add some code. So it has opened up, and what we're going to do, we are going to add files, we're going to add text, we're going to add we are going to add everything, because this is where we are going to have our login form. The first thing we are going to do, we are just going to create a login form. We are going to create a login form. So it's right here. When you click this icon, there is called the explorer icon. So you can see now your project folder over here. It's empty right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add some files. The first file is going to be index.php, index.php, and then because we are going to create forms, we need a style sheet. So what I'm going to add is I'm going to add a style sheet. So it's going to be styles.css. Save your work, and then what I'm going to do here, I'm going to add HTML. Okay, yeah, surprise, HTML also works in PHP. So what I'm going to do, that's the snippet that gets there. That's the shortcut. So it's a shortcut in the Visual Studio Code that gets the HTML snippet. So what we're going to do here, because we really are out of time, we're going to create the form. It's going to be of type post. Now we have several methods during form processing in PHP, and we have get, and then we have post. But get when you send your form data in a get method, your data is going to be embedded in the URL. What is a URL? It's a universal resource locator. So that is a problem, because everybody, when they are browsing, they'll be seeing your data, maybe your username and your password on the search bar. So that's not a very good idea. So the best method is to use post, where data is going to be encrypted. Okay, now the action is always the page where you're going to have your form data processed. So because we are not going to create a new page, we're just going to process the form data inside this page, so you can just refer to this page. So you're going to have index.php. That's the name of our page. So what we're going to do now here, I'm going to create some input fields. These input fields will be the username and the password. So it's going to be input, and this one is going to be of type text, and then we are going to give it a name of uname. We're going to give it a name of uname, and then we are going to create something else. We are going to create an input of type password. When you put the type password, it's going to mask the input, so that when somebody writes the word Kamau, we're not going to have the word Kamau. You're just going to have some dots. Like, how many dots are those? 5? Yeah, something like that. And then we're going to have to give it a name of PS word. Now in a PHP, we use name as the namespace for accessing the values of DOM objects. Okay, so DOM objects I have covered DOM objects in my tutorial in JavaScript. So if you want to know what I'm talking about when I say a DOM object, you can go and find that tutorial. It's on in the YouTube, and maybe I can pass the link in the description, so don't worry, I'm going to paste the link in the description. Then the other one that we're going to have the input of type submit. This is gonna be a button, and this way you're going to click, and then we have the form get submitted. So it's going to have a value of login. The value is that one that you're going to see, and it doesn't have to be login. You can call it whatever you want, even in Swahili or whatever language. And then we're going to give it a name of what? We're going to give it a name of submit. Save your work. Then let us go to the browser. Refresh. Now we have that simple form. As you can see, we have that simple form. Yeah, you remember this what we were working in there, so that's the reason I'm doing what? I'm just refreshing. I hope you remember by now that to start a project in PHP, you need to have your server started, and by server I mean this thing here. Yeah, the thingy with some XAMPP, the XAMPP control panel. You need to have it started. So I'm going to show you in a moment. This is my XAMPP server. As you can see, it has started there. Apache module, the MySQL module, and FileZilla module. So if you don't see this in green, your work is not going to run. If you do not see it in green, your work is not going to run. So make sure that you start it. How do you start it? You just go to the menu, and then you're going to navigate to where your XAMPP control panel is. So like right now, my XAMPP control panel is probably the last one. It's here. It's on this folder. It's here, XAMPP control panel. So you have to click that one. When you click it, it's going to give you this. And when it gives you this, instead of having stop, it's going to have starter. Like you can see, these ones have not been started. So you're just going to click the start buttons that you're going to see, and then you're going to wait for it to turn green, and then you're going to go to the browser, and instead of typing maybe the relative, the absolute path to your project, you are going to type localhost followed by your project folder name, and then the file name. Localhost followed by project folder name, and then the name of if you have some subdirectories, you're also going to include the subdirectories. Okay, so like assume maybe I don't have it, so but I'm just going to show you in an abstract way. So I'm going to type maybe login folder, and then I'm going to put now this one is where this is the server, and then we're going to, it is serving this project, the PHP Crashcourse is a project, and then that is the folder. That's where everything my work is based in. And then we have the login folder. The login folder is there, is the subdirectory, and then the index.php is inside this login folder. So you're going to type in that way. So you're going to make sure that you refer to every single subdirectory and file that you really require to put on the browser. So let's go back. Let's now design this form. Let's give it some styles, and let's make it cool, right? Yeah, so how we do that, we're going to go to the style sheet. I'm going to open up the style sheet in a new tab in the Visual Studio Code. So how you do that, I'm just going to use Ctrl+Enter, and then you're going to have a new tab where we are going to work on the CSS. Now the CSS, we are going to design the form. Really, we're not designer, but style the form. So I'm going to give the form an ID of login form, and then I'm going to give the login form. So to access the login form, I'm going to use the hash CSS, right? Login form, and then I'm going to give it a height of auto, but I'm going to give it a width of 200 pixels. Save your work. And then what else I'm going to give it? I'm going to give it a padding. I'm going to give it a padding of 1%. I'm also going to give it a background color. Background of cornflower blue would be great. Then I'm going to give it a color. I mean the color of every text that's gonna be there is gonna be white. Save your work, and then let's see what we got. So okay, now Can you guess why we're having this problem? The problem is we have not included our CSS. How you include the CSS? You come to the HTML and then use link instead of a CSS, and then you're going to its style. So save your work and then refresh. You can see we have it styled up. So something else we can do is we can style this. We can style the what? We can style the input fields to be of something like to style these input fields we need to refer to this form. So I'm going to refer to this form, login form, and then I'm going to refer to the input fields themselves. So I'm going to use input, and then I'm going to use of type text, and then I'm going to refer to input type of so the same thing, I'm going to use login form, and then I'm going to refer to what? Input of type password of type password. Let me resize this one, and then what we're going to do here, I'm going to give it a border radius of 5 pixels, and I'm going to give it a border of 1 px solid dark gray. Save your work. Let's see what we got. Yeah, right, it's cool. I'm also thinking we could remove the background of the input field. So background, we're going to give it a, let's give it a transparent, and then we could give it a, instead of a border gray, let's give it white so that it's visible. Save your work, refresh. Now it looks cool, right? Yeah, it looks cool. We also need to give it a padding of 5 pixels so that the form field looks bigger. Yeah, like that. Man, it's cool. Okay, then we give it a margin bottom of 5 pixels too, or yeah, 5 pixels. 5 pixels. Save your work, refresh. It's good. Something else we need to do is that we need to give it a title so that we can tell what form is this, and then we need to give it the color. Like when I start typing here, you're going to have black color, so I'm going to give the color of the text to be white. Save your work. So that's it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to give the login forms a border radius. I want to have something cool, but it's not really like I'm intending to create something cool. I'm just trying to pass around the idea of logging and register. So border is going to be of what? Like border, we're going to have no, it's not border, it's border radius. It's going to be of color white. No, border radius is not gonna be color, it's gonna be pixels. Yeah, something like that. And then we need to put this form, we need to give it a title. So I'm going to cut everything, Ctrl+X, and then I'm going to give a field set, and then I'm going to give inside the field set, I'm going to put a legend. I'm going to call it login form, or login here, and then what I'm going to do here, I'm going to paste the HTML code that I had cut out. So refresh. Now you have something cool, right? Yeah, it's really nice, man. It's cool, huh? Yeah, it's cool, it's great. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to style up the field set. I'm going to style up the field set, and then I'm going to give it a border of 1 px solid, and then I'm going to give it white. I'm going to give it a, yeah, then we can give it a border radius too, a border radius of 5 pixels. Then I need to give some shadow. I feel like I want to give the shadow to the login form, so box shadow, I'm gonna give it 5px, 5px, and then 5px. Let's see how it all works. So we don't give the color, so I'm gonna give it dark gray, dark gray. Save your work. Yeah, nice, looks nice, right? Almost material. Now, okay, what else do we need to style? We need to style the button. Yeah, we need to style there. We need to style the button. We need to style the button. So to style the button, I'm gonna refer to, I'm just going to use this code, and then instead of now having to, it's the same code, only that I'm not going to use this second part because just one element that I'm going to be styling, and then the type is gonna be submit, and then the background color is gonna be transparent, and then the border color is gonna be white. Yeah, that's right, the color is gonna be white. Let's see what we got. Oh, nice. Then we need to give it a what? We need to give it a, we need to remove the margin. The margin is okay, but we need to give it a, width of 50%. It's relative. It's not gonna take the 50% of the body, is gonna take the 50%, the relative width. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to push it towards the middle, and then I'm gonna give it no, it's not gonna be, let's use margin left. I'm gonna give it 25. Let's see what we got. Yeah, it's cool. Now something else, I'm hoping I'm thinking of changing that text to capital, all capital. So I'm going to give it a text transform to capital, to, let me use uppercase, all of them. Capitalize, just gonna capitalize the first one. Yeah, now I have a cool button, and instead of having 1px solid, we could have px, 2px, because it's a button. Refresh. Yeah, it's cooler. Now what are we going to do? Now we are going to add some functionality. You can see it's a very nice form, but no, it's just nice for nothing, because it cannot do shit. Okay, it cannot do anything. It cannot process a login. So what we are going to do, I'm going to add the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to add a placeholder to the form field, and then I'm going to add the PHP code. So let us start with it. We could also start with maybe changing the font family of everything, to the font family of everything could change into Cobel. Then you could have, yeah, that's enough for now. And then we could change, I wanted this login, doesn't look great. Now it looks great. So let's now add what? Let's add the placeholders. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click there, and then I'm going to use multi-cursor editing. So placeholder, then I'm gonna give that. So the first one is gonna be the username, the second one is gonna be what? Password. Save your work, then refresh. Now it looks great, because now you know what you're supposed to put where. Okay, now when on a click of this button, we need to have the form process our login. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my index.php, because that's where we are going to process our form. As you remember, the action was in the index.php, so that's where we are going to write our processing PHP snippet. So how do we do that? I'm going to create PHP. Now I want you to notice this, that when you're writing PHP in and you also have HTML, you need to put it probably above your the best practice is to put it above your HTML code. So I'm going to put it here. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to put it above my document, my HTML document, and then I'm going to give it some space, and then I'm going to do something. The first thing that I'm going to do here, I'm going to create a connection to the database, because we'll be processing data from the database, and comparing, seeing if the username is in the database and if the password is in the database, and if they are correct, then we can have a successful login. Now this one is going to work if we have a connection to the database. You just don't send data around, you have to make a path with some kind of a bridge. So I'm going to create a connection to the database. So how do you create the database? You'll need several things. You need the host, you also need the user, then you'll need the password, then you need password, it's password, then you're going to need the database, and then we are going to use procedural PHP here. We're not going to use something very complex. Okay, so we are going to use the procedural way. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to declare some few variables, and these variables will be, they are going to be the host, the user, the password, and the database. They're just going to represent this, okay, because that's what we are going to need. So $host or money sign host, $host is equals to localhost, always localhost. Then you're going to have $user is equals to be my user is root, and then $password, the password is gonna be Pollard56. That's my user password. And then you're going to have database. The database is gonna be you remember the database that we created in a previous tutorial, the one that we called PHP Crashcourse. You want to see it, you can just come here, then go to the PHP my admin tool, and then you can see this, the PHP Crashcourse database that we created, and then it had this table called users, and then we had some dummy data. You remember us playing around with the MySQL and XAMPP thing? Yeah, I remember when we started using the command line, and also we started using the GUI. You remember that we created this database using the the GUI. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to refer to that database, and as you can see, it does not have a camel case. So the best thing is to make sure that you've typed is as it is, because you miss a letter, it's going to give you a problem. So it's PHP Crashcourse, and then what we're going to do here, now we have the variables. Now we're going to make the connection. How do you make the connection? So here we're going to make the connection. So to make the connection, we are gonna create a new variable called $con, and then this variable we're going to assign it the connection instance. So MySQL connect. This is a method that takes in the host, $host as the first parameter. The second parameter is the $user. The third parameter is the password, and then the fourth parameter is the database. Okay, so now we have created the connection. We need to check if the connection was successful. Check if the connection was successful. How you do that? You are going to use a conditional if, then you're going to check if it was not. Let's check for the negative scenario. $con if it was not successful, or if it does not return a truth. If it does not return true, then you're going to die. You're going to tell it die, and then you're going to give a fatal error. Then you're going to concatenate it with what? You're going to concatenate it with the error. You're going to concatenate it with the MySQL connect error, and then it's a method too that takes in the connection variable. So and then our connection variable is $con, so we pass it there, and then we can check, we can go and refresh and check, just refresh our page, and then we're going to have. So you want to test if maybe you want to know why I was talking about you missing a letter. Like if you miss a letter in our database name and then you come back here, you're going to have a problem. You see, it kills everything. Not even the page can load because we have an unknown database, because we really do not have a database called that. Yes, when you come to this list of databases, you cannot see a database that name. So what you do, just make sure you spell it correctly. Okay, so now because we have created our connection, now we need to process the login. We need to process the login. We need to process the login. So how do we process the login? How we're going to do it, we're going to wait for the submit event. When we're going to wait for submit event, and then when it's fired, then we're going to process the form, because you cannot just process the form. Okay, you need to process the form when the user tells you to process the form. So how we do that, we're going to use a conditional if is set. Then what are we going to check is said, we're going to check if this button has been clicked. So this button, the login button, and we're going to use this name. You see this name, I want you to notice that in PHP we use the namespace name. So we're going to use this name and we're going to refer to that value. So we're going to use if is set, and then because we're using a post here, because we're using a method post here, we are going to get the request method as the post. So we're going to use $post, and then we're going to use submit. Submit. So what we're going to do, we're going to check if the button has been submitted. Right now we can try to check that by maybe putting out some dummy data, like you clicked the submit button, click the submit button, and this dummy data, this is not actually what we're going to be doing. This is just for testing purposes. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to I'm going to load my page again. As it is loaded, it looks like that. Okay, but when I click this button, I'm going to have there, you click the submit button again. Again, I'm going to load that that page. Then I'm going to click the submit button, and then you click the submit button. So are you ready to process the form data? Okay, now what we're going to do, after the button has been clicked, as a validation, the front-end validation, you'll need to check, and this one should be fatal error. You'll need to check if the form fields are filled, because you really cannot process anything if the form fields are not filled. So what we're going to do here, we are going to check. So we're going to check if the form fields are filled. So how we do that, we're going to use conditional. So we have a bigger conditional here, a bigger if, and then we're going to have another one here. So that's what we call nesting. So if nested if statement. So here we're going to say if is set, if is set, then we're going to check for what? Then we are going to check for this one, for the input field, and then we are going to use, for the input type, when it's when we have the username, we are going to look for this. We're going to check for the uname, and then when it's the password, you're going to check the password. Why are we looking at them? Because that is the value of this namespace name. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to use $post, uname. If you said $post uname, then you can assign the value, but I first need to check. Right now we are checking if it's set, but we really do not have to check if it's set. We could use empty, because that's really what we need. We could use the empty method. Now the empty method is going to tell us if the form field has been filled. So if it's empty, we are going to have to assign a new variable to something. Now we are going to create a new variable so that we can have error feedback. So you're going to create the error is gonna be username is required username is required, and then we're gonna we're gonna have something else. We're gonna check if the password is filled to. This time around, I'm going to be outputting errors in an array method. I'm not really going to, let me show you. Let me show you what I mean. So this one is going to be the password, and instead of assigning them to a variable, we could have something, we could have something like an array. So I'm going to create an array here, an array, errors array. So I'm going to create errors array, an array of errors, or because maybe it's not going to be errors, because you could also have feedback, but yeah, let's create an array. Okay, so feedbacks or errors, and then we're going to give it it's gonna be an array. It's gonna be an array. So what we're going to do, we're going to use the push method. So here what we're going to do, instead of having that, we could say array.push, array push, array push, and then we are going to have errors, and then we are going to have the value. And now the value is going to be username is required, and then now we have that one. We are going to do the same thing for the username. So array push, and then we're going to have errors, and then you're going, the value is gonna be password is required. Yeah. So up to that point we are good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a div, a feedback div, just below the login, the legend. So I'm going to call it a div. I'm going to give it a div. I want to give it some name. Okay, I want to give it some name. I want to give it or maybe I could give p, and then I could have some PHP here. Now, yeah, you can also have PHP inside HTML code. Okay, so don't worry about that. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to first check if the array, the errors array is empty. So if not empty, let's check is not empty. If not empty, that's the errors. It's the errors array, the errors. Then what you're going to do is gonna be a loop. So you're going to have a loop, a for loop, for each. Let's use for each. It's gonna be a for each loop, for each, and then you're going to have errors as error. Okay, then you're going to do what? We are going to echo then you're going to echo error, and then you're going to have what? We're going to have that. Okay, so let's see what we got. Refresh. Username is required, password is required. You see, it's working. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put to concatenate this one with a break, so that it can start on a new line. I don't want them to be on the same line, and maybe they're gonna give us some very ugly stuff. So br, save your work, refresh. So username is required, password is required. And then what we could do, we could start this form, and I'm gonna give it an ID of feedback, of maybe errors. Let me give it an ID of errors, so that we can come to CSS and style the whole thing up. So here I'm going to give hash errors, and then background color. Background is gonna be, we could use RGBA. Yes, RGBA. RGBA is red, green, blue, and then alpha is the opacity. So I really don't want it to be a very dark red. Yeah, I want something like that. I want something like that. That's cool. 139, 51, 51 is gonna be great. And then what we're going to do, I'm going to add an opacity of let's leave, and we're going to have it's gonna be RGB. RGB is gonna be great. Save your work, then refresh. So all right, it's not changing anything. Background color, no, it's not changing anything. Okay, if that one does not work, you can try the inline styling. So that so style is gonna be what? It's gonna be background color is gonna be red, or I don't really mean very red is gonna be a very bright red, so I need something not that really red. Okay, or we could give it a color. Let's just give it color for now. It's not like I know so many colors anyway. So red, save your work, refresh. Yeah, good. Now we have username is required and password is required. And also we could we could put some hyphens so that you can tell it is what is an error. So dot, and then you're going to put a string there, then you're going to put a hyphen, or maybe a bullet, some kind of a bullet. Yeah, username is required and password is required. But when you fill something here and then click login, it's only the password that is required. So when you put something here, it's gonna tell you username is required. It's cool. Yeah, you gotta admit that. So what I'm going to do now, because we can do that, now we can display the errors successfully. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do the processing part now, because the next part you're going to check if they are not empty. What you're going to do, you're going to clean them. Okay, so you're going to clean them, so that's going to be the else part. Okay, the else part in each of them. So you're going to create a new variable, and this variable it's good if you declare it globally, because we are going to access it globally, or yeah, we're going to access it globally. So I'm going to create it globally in this submit event. So I'm going to create I'm going to create $uname or money sign uname, and then I'm going to assign it to an empty variable. And then I'm also going to create $PSWord, and then I'm going to assign it to an empty string. Save your work. So right now what I'm going to do, I'm going to clean the whole thing that we get from there. So this part is we clean the user input. So how you do that? So now, because you have created an empty variable up there, now you're going to create the uname. Now this time round you're going to assign it to the variable that has been put, or the value of the input field. So how do you clean it? You're going to use a masculi real escape string as the escape string as the what? As the method. Now this MySQL real escape string, it takes two parameters. The first parameter is the connection variable, and the other parameter is the value that you want to clean. Now here we're going to use the $con. You remember the one that we used to connect the database. That's the connection variable I'm talking about. And then here we're going to have the dollar post, then username or uname, we are calling it uname. Okay, and then we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do the same thing for the password. We're gonna do the same thing for the password. This one is gonna, we can, we're just going to change that. So PS1, save the work, and then right now, if it was not empty, now we can try and echo what? Now we can echo dollar uname. So let's see if we can see whatever we created. So I'm going to refresh that page. When I click that one, we have errors when I put something here, and then when I put something here, you see now I have df. That's what I put. Okay, so that's when we echo the input field. It's already cleaned, and now it's ready to go to the database. So this next part, I want you to look at it very correctly, because the idea that's behind even those giant companies, how they do it, okay, when a logging in is happening, is gonna be in the most basic way, but it's from that basic way that you can come up with a very good login model. So what we're going to do here, we are going to check if the username and the password are okay. Now if they are set, and then if they are set, and then they are not empty, they have been cleaned, what we are going to do is we are going to send them to the database. So I really do not have to write this conditional, but I have to. But now let me do it for simplicity purposes. So send the data to the BE, the backend. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to check if they are still empty, because if they are still empty, that means that there was an error. Okay, so I'm going to use if, and then you remember we were talking about operators, and today I'm going to introduce another operator called OR. So I'm going to check if dollar uname, then I'm going to use OR. Now to use OU is it's just like in English. Okay, we are checking either of them, so any of them. So it's gonna be OR dollar PS1. Then so what we're going to do, we are not just checking them, because if we leave them like that, we're just going to get a true. So we're going to check if empty. So we're just going to check if empty. If empty, then wrap them in the what? Wrap them in the brackets, empty, then wrap them in the brackets. Then if let's check for the negative scenario. If not empty, or let's use, that was all. Now to use and, use the double ampersand, then you can echo ready to process login. Okay, ready to process login. Save your work, refresh, ready to process login. So let us process the login in the next lesson. Now we are ready to process the login. So what we're going to do, we are going to send this data to the backend. So because we already have the variables, we have already set the variables. Okay, before we continue, let's check if it is empty. So actually we are getting an error here, because when we have everything filled, that's when we should have ready to process login. So what I'm going to do here now, because we have now been able to check if the input fields are empty, and if they are not empty, now we can now send the data to the backend. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use I'm going to use a method of this is gonna be SQL. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. It's gonna be SQL. So I'm going to create a variable called I. You don't have to call I, you can also call it whatever you want. but this one I'm going to use, this is SQL inside this double quotation or double speech mark. So what I'm going to write here, I'm going to write select, you know, SQL is not case sensitive, but the values are okay. So select all, we're going to select all from the, you know, the table that we're going to use is the users. So you remember that we had the users, select all from users, and then we are going to check where the password. Okay, let us go back to the PHP my admin tool, and then I'm going to log in. It had logged me out. Yeah, it has a 1440-second idle time, idle time, you know. Yeah, after 1440 seconds, then it's going to log you out. Okay, so it's going to log me in. It's logging me in, you know. Now this our users table. As you can see, it's called the table users. It's here. So we had username and password. So what we are going to do, so where username is equals to $username $uname, and then you're going to use the one and. Here in SQL you can use the one and password is equals to, then you're going to use $password. Okay, so what you're going to do now, that is the query. Okay, so to make the query or to send this query to the database, you need to, that is a statement. Now this is gonna be the query, sorry, this is gonna be the query. So you're going to make a MySQL query, and then the first thing, you know, MySQL query is a method that takes two parameters. The first parameter is the database connection variable, and then the other one is the statement. So here we're going to have $con, and then you're going to have $I. So if that was successful, if that happened, so you're going to check if I let's check if the query happens. So we are first going to emit the error. If not, $q, we are going to echo MySQL error $con. That is if it happened. Else we are going to do what? We are going to check for the number of rows. If there exists a record like that, we are going to see if our user is registered. So we're going to check if the user is registered. So how we do that, we're going to check the number of rows. So you're going to use records if they are records. So how to check the record, you're going to use method called MySQL num rows, and then it's gonna take the query. So it's gonna be q, and then so here you're going to check if the records are 0. So you're going to check if $records is equals to 0. You're going to echo what? Echo, sorry, or we could use incorrect login details, incorrect login details, try again, or register. So that's it. If the records are 0, if the records are not 0, if so, else you're going to have an else. So you're going to echo, we're going to echo welcome back, and then we're going to emit, you know, we're going to spit out the name of the user, $username or the uname. Okay, so let's refresh the page. So you see we have incorrect details. Please log in later. Then we try again. Incorrect details, log in later. Now what if we take one of these, like we could take cosmic and then 1 through 9. So cosmic, and then you have 1 through 9, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Now you're supposed to get what? Welcome back cosmic. Now you see, that's our login form. That's our login form. So how is it coming? I hope you're getting everything. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a register form now, and the register form will be adding data. Will be adding data into this table. So how we do that? I'm going to create a form that's not really going to be that big deal. So we can change this one. I want to change that one to login, and then I'm going to change this one to login, because now I want to create a register one, and both of them are going to have the submit event. So this one is gonna be submit login submitted, login submit submit, and then you're going to create the register submit. Okay, instead of having the register here, we could just create a new page. Okay, yeah, let's remove it there. Let's not be lazy and create a new page. So I'm gonna create a new page called the register.php. So in this register.php, we're just gonna have the same things, and this one is gonna be register. Then you're gonna use the same style sheet. So link, we're gonna have CSS. Then you're gonna have style sheet, the same style sheet. We're gonna be using this. So I can test this is register page. Save your work. Then we can come here and refresh, and then instead of having index, we can have register.php refresh. Now this register page. So what we are going to do now here, I'm going to create a form, but this time around I'm really not going to create so many fields. I'm just going to create a few. I just want to pass the ID. Okay, I'm not even going to I'm not going to style things this one. I'm going to leave it up to you. If sometimes you need to learn something, then you teach yourself something. That's how you learn. Okay, so I'm going to leave the styling to you. So if you'll be able to make it look like like the index.php, if you be able to make the form look like this one, be a great idea. But now I'm just going to make a simple form. It's gonna be of the same method. Form is gonna be post. It's gonna be a post, and then we are going to process it here. So it's gonna be register.php, and then that's it for now. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some input fields here. Input, it's gonna be of type text, and then the name is gonna be username. Then you can have the password, and then it's gonna be password. So this way you'll be registering, and then you can have the submit, input, submit, and then you're gonna have register, and then you're gonna give it a name is gonna be register. Okay, so let's come back here and see if everything's working, because everything's working. We put something here, and then the database does not like it. It has try again now register, but when you have Cosmic, it's gonna work. Okay, it is gonna work now. Oh, it's Cosmic, and then the password is 1 through 9. I did not put that. Now that is 1 through 9. Now we have welcome back Cosmic. So that is okay. So that's okay. What I'm going to do now, because we are now working on the register page, so I'm going to have register. That's our page. So you're just going to add the username and then the password, and let me give them the placeholder. Holder is gonna be, the first one is gonna be username, then the second one is gonna be what? Password. Save your work, refresh. Let's see what we get. Okay, it's cool. So what we're going to do, I'm going to hop directly into PHP, because actually right now I'm going to hop directly into PHP, because the lesson is becoming a bit longer. So to do that, I'm just going to you remember that you're supposed to write the PHP inside what? above, not inside. Yeah, you can have some, so we are going to write it above there. So the same thing we did here, we are going to create the connection. So to create the connection, I'm just going to use the same thing. I'm going to use the same code for connection. I'm going to paste it there, and then the only thing I'm going to do is process there, submit, process there, submit. So if now we're going to check if the button has been clicked. So we're going to check if it said $post, $post. Yeah, I don't have an error. $post, then it's gonna be register. So we're going to remove this name. If we say $post register, then let's see if it's working. Echo ready to register, ready to register. Let's save work, let's refresh, click the button, ready to register. So when you click the button, it's giving us ready to register. So that's PHP. So now what we're going to do, instead of saying ready to register, you're just going to check if they are filled. So if not empty, then you're going to check $post username, and we're also going to check for, and we're going to use the ampersand, not empty, $post password. If they are not, we are going to process and enter the data into the database. So that's what we're gonna do. Else we are gonna have echo empty. Okay, we're gonna one or more fields are empty. One or more fields are empty. Let's save that and see what we're gonna have. So like when I click that, one or more fields are empty, but when I fill both of them, so we have that. So let's process that. So what we're going to do here, we're going to write SQL. Okay, we're going to write SQL, but before we do that, we need to clean what we get so that we do not send unclean data to the database, because actually names with hyphens, not hyphens, I mean what are they called, those like the word nga in Swahili, that's a Kikuyu name. So the name with hyphens, sometimes you need to clean them off. You need to strip the lashes, then you need to trim them, the white spaces. That's what you call cleaning. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm just gonna clean them. $username uname is equals to mysql real escape string. You remember this is the method that is used to clean, and then we are gonna use the connection variable, and then $post username, control plus V, and then we're gonna so this one is gonna be it's gonna be the PS word. So what we are going to do now, this PS word and the username, these are the values that we are going to enter into the database. So what I'm going to do, actually I'm going to clean this database, the table I mean. So I'm going to clean the table. I'm going to clean the table so that I want to remove everything. I'm waiting for it to load. It's taking some time, you see, loading. So I'm going to clean this table. To clean, I'm just going to say empty. I don't want to drop it. To drop is to delete the table. So what I'm going to do is now we don't have data. So when I click here, it's empty, as you can see. So what we're going to do, we are going to enter that data into the database. Enter there, or insert. Let's use insert. Insert the data into the database. So what we're going to do, I'm going to use, maybe I can use value I. That's, I like it because it's a short way of variable I, or $I as for money sign I. it's a variable, is equals to, again I'm going to write SQL here, insert into, then you're going to, the table is called users, and then you're going to put values. We're going to put the values that you have. Okay, now the values that we are going to have is this, so we have the username and the password. The ID, it is not signed, it's unsigned, so we are not going to work on that. So we're just going to put, this is the column, and this the another column. So we're going to use, here we are going to put the column, so we are going to use username, and then you're going to separate by what? Separate by a comma, and then here we are going to add the value that corresponds to these column. So here we're going to use the $uname, and you're going to wrap it in what? In it's a good idea to wrap them in single quotation marks, $uname, and then I'm going to pass the what? $PS word, and remember to wrap them in single quotation marks. So after that I need to make the query $q, so that's gonna be the query. $q is gonna be MySQL query, and then the MySQL query takes two parameters, as I said in the previously, and then it's gonna take the connection variable, then it's gonna take the statement variable, the SQL statement variable. So now you're going to check if it's correct. So if the query or the queue returned truth, so you're going to, if it returns true, then you're going to echo, we need to remove, we need to remove that. We don't use square brackets, okay, we use curly brackets. So we're going to echo $uname, then we're going to concatenate with it with a string. You were successfully registered. We could even have a comma there, because want to write some cool grammar, so let's remove the capital there. Else we are going to have an error. We're going to have an error, so we're going to say echo MySQL error, then you're going to pass the connection variable $con. Okay, so we can try that. So here we can click, and then one or more fields, you can say blah 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 blah, register, you are successfully registered. So we're supposed to see this. Okay, so we come here, and then we click the users table, and then you see it's loading, and boom, now we have DF. Okay, so that's it. But let's try something real. Okay, we don't have, like, we could have cosmic, then 1 through 9, click register, cosmic, you're successfully registered. Now when we come here, now we have cosmic, and the password is still cosmic. Why? Okay, maybe we're having some problem. Did I put the word cosmic? No, shouldn't be. There's a problem, because we're setting to the username, password, values, $uname, and then $PS word. So $PS word, the problem is that we're passing that username, so it's gonna be password. So that's gonna be the problem. So now that one is fixed. Let's empty the database again, so that we So I really like using my command line. So I'm gonna go to the command line. I want to empty the whole database, the whole table. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna cd example, then MySQL, not MySQL. Then I'm gonna go to navigate to bin. Then I'm gonna use MySQL. The user is root, and then the password, it's gonna be prompted. So I'm gonna use PHP crash course. Let me put it down so that you can see. So I'm gonna type use PHP. No, I'm just selecting by this command. I'm selecting the database. Use PHP crash course. Crash course. So because it has changed now, I want to empty the database. So I'm gonna say truncate truncate users, and then it's okay. So right now we do not have anything like okay, when we come here, when I click, you know, when I type select all from users, we are gonna have nothing. We are told it's an empty set. But when we come and do something here, like you know, let us add something like cosmic, and then cosmic, not cosmic 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 through 9, then it is registered. So this time round, instead of having an empty set, when I select all from the users, we're gonna have, you see, now we have that. So we have this user has been registered. You could also do something like else, like Alicia, and then you can have 1 2 3 keys, 1 2 3 keys, register. Alicia has been registered. So when we come here and see, you know, you're going to have, let me give it a darker background so that you can see. Now you have Alicia and the password is 1 2 3 keys. You see, now that's how you register people. Okay, now let me give you a challenge. Can you be able to prevent a user from registering twice? Because right now we can have a user register twice. How do we do that? We already have the word the user cosmic, so we can have cosmic 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So you see, so when I come here, you see, I'm going to select all, and then I'm going to have this cosmic is the same. So why do we have to, you know, that's gonna be bad for space. So the best thing is to make sure that they registered only once. So do you have an idea? I want to challenge you to try and make that one, so that I can give you a hint. What you're going to do, you're just going to make sure that when you're checking for the records, you can first check if a record exists in the database. How you do that? You can, you know, create an SQL statement, then check the number of rows, and when you check the number of rows, you check the number of rows like this, the way we did here. You see, you can check the number of rows like this, or the number of records. If the number of records is 1 or greater than 1, or if the number of records is not 0, then you can tell the user that he or she is already registered. So can you try to log in? Yeah, so let us log in. Index.php. now you can use cosmic, then 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So welcome back cosmic, because it is there. Okay, what if I truncate? Arrange the same thing, cosmic 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. You know, we are gonna have incorrect login details. So, and maybe let me create another user. And then I'm gonna go to register.php, and then I'm gonna create cosmica. Let me use cosmica, then 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and then click register cosmica. You are successfully registered. So now when I come and log in here in the index.php, we do not have such a page. It's now, in fact, that's double X there. So now we can have cosmica, and then we can have what, 1 through 9. So you see, so that's it. So what I want you to do is I want you to try and see if you can be able to do this, because these are how portals are created, database access portals. This is how they are created. So if you'll be able to do this, then you're going to come back, because I intend to create another one for I intend to create another one for another tutorial for CRUD, where you have an insert, create, read, update, and delete. Okay, where we're going to see how you can now display the users in the database. Maybe you have an admin page. Okay, so make sure that you are able to create something like this. Cool, right? So we are going to meet the next lesson. So what you're going to do, just if you like my videos, just hit the like icon, then click the bell thing so that you can get notifications, and then you can also subscribe to my channel and pass around the ring. So my name is Cosmic. Will be bringing you more tutorials, and it was fun having you around. So what are we going to do? We are going to stop here, and we meet in the next tutorial.